and how to experience this reality. Welcome to the Global Center for Christ Consciousness, and I would love to introduce our guest musician for today, Jaya Lakshmi.
So today when I woke up, I thought, what song am I going to sing? And this is the song that came to me, and it's a song I wrote years ago about the water. So it's a water journey, a prayer for the waters of our beautiful Mother Earth and our spirit. I am green essence running, pure water flowing into your life from the source of all love. I am the crystalline songs of the mountain stream, pouring into your heart from the source of all dreams. I am the silver droplets of the morning rain, a shower of light washing away your pain. Won't you drink this water of love? Won't you drink this water of love? Let this river of grace move you through to the blessed space, to the blessed space, to the blessed space. I am the open ocean, a sparkling sea rolling into your sky, setting you free. I am the emerald river, fountain and spring, life-giving forces of the waters I bring. Won't you drink this this river of grace move you through to the blessed space, to the blessed space.
Divine Mother, Holy Spirit of God, pour your love from the highest heaven into our heart and soul. We surrender all that is unlike your holiness, all that is unworthy of this beautiful light that you are and we are. All the petty things of our lives, all the concerns of this world that isn't even here. Help us to put all of this on the altar in our hearts, to give these things up as unconditionally as possible. All this is given to you here now. Our little made-up selves, our ego selves. This is the greatest gift we can give to God, that which we are not, so that room is made to receive that which we are. And so it is. Continue.
Let this river of grace move you through to the blessed space, to the blessed space, to the blessed space. This water of love, won't you drink this water of love? Let this river of grace move you through to the blessed space, to the blessed space, to the blessed space.
Thank you, Jaya. And together we will read our mission statement. Please join me, and you can find them on the white cards in the seat backs in front of you. And together we say, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And now for our sacred reading for today.
This is from White Eagle. Whatever a person's outward appearance, remember that within, deep within every soul, is the spark of beauty, the seed of God, which can grow. By our sincere, true thoughts of love, you can project to the souls of men and women the light of God, and they, perhaps unconsciously, will receive that light. Look into their hearts and know that every man and every woman has within them the love of God. Seek goodness in your companions and look for it. Find that goodness and love in your brothers and sisters. This is our work, not to condemn or blame a negative program onto others. In the outer world, it can be so easy to judge from surface appearances. In the spirit of love and companionship, silence all gossip and destructive criticism, and find within you enduring peace, true kindliness, and understanding. And so it is.
And let's give another warm welcome to our guest musician today, Jaya Lakshmi.
So in the Sikh tradition of India, there's a word, and it's sunya, and it means listening, and it means listening on very deep levels, like with your spiritual sense, listening. And that's what this song, it's a chant, and then I'll sing a little English at the end. But this is it's a new song that came through while I was in India, just this last March. Suniya sir phir sulna, suniya tarat tavalkas, suniya deepalo apata, suniya pohina sakai ka. Suniya sir phir sulna, suniya tarat tavalkas, suniya deepalo apata, suniya pohina sakai ka. Suniyai, 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 Suniyai. Suniyai sir phir sulnat, suniyai tarat tavalkas, suniyai deepalo apata, suniyai pohina sakai ka, suniyai sir phir sulnat, suniyai tarat tavalkas, suniyai deepalo apata, suniyai pohina sakai ka, suniyai, 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 If you listen, you will hear. 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 Sunia sida pira suanat. Sunia tarata tavalakas. Sunia di below avadal. Sunia poina sakai ka. Sunia, 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 Sunia.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good. My name is Michael Mirdad, and I serve here as part of our spiritual leadership. The other parts include our board members, chaplains, volunteers, employees. Everybody adds to this, and of course the attendees here. Even the folks online that aren't here asking specific questions or contributing physically being here, you know, they're still part of the frequency because there is no such thing as time and distance. Can anyone share what topics you'd like me to cover today?
Compassion.
Hold it. There were like 5 all at the same time. The last few after transparency.
Compassion.
Next.
Patience.
Okay, thank you. That's good, thank you. I think that's the most items we've had given, yes. If I left something out, I apologize, keeping up with them all. But I love it. I love it. Compassion, forgiveness, over to addiction, listening. There's practicality to it all. Transparency, the obvious forgiveness, and so on. Even when we hear one of the requests, third eye, the first one that was asked. Bringing all these topics together, this is the extraordinary experience. We appear to be here on earth. That's what we appear to be doing. And it's interesting because ultimately, we were created in this consciousness of God. It's not a location, remember. Heaven is not a location. You don't go to heaven, you grow to heaven. It's a level of consciousness. And yet these holy children of God, made in God's image, and God said, here I am, I'm creating you as part of me, so here we are. everything's cool. God is, I am. We're, and we are. We're part of this together. And yet, if you don't have a choice to, this is echoing slightly, can you fix that? If you don't have a choice to not be plugged in, then you can't really freely choose to be plugged in. So when people say, well, why would we do this? Because you had to exercise all the options. I am as God created me, or maybe I'm not. And when we said, maybe I'm not, we went, uh-oh. All thoughts create, don't they? And if we thought the thought, what if we're separate from God? It's done, because all thoughts create. But that's actually not true. Only thoughts that you can actually think manifest. Only thoughts that you can actually think create. The one of being separate from God is actually an impossibility, because the Lord thy God is one. So we thought a thought that's really just a worthless thought. The bad news is we took it seriously. We went into a state of fear and terror. Then it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do with this feeling? We just separated from God. Oh my God. So we go from God and us, the Christ, and in that moment, we decided to create other people to blame. I feel so horrible, I can't take this. I'm going to explode. Boom, we exploded and it became you. Other people. Adam, what have you done? She made me do it. Eve, Satan. So immediately we went into blaming. As long as it wasn't us. You see? So now we live the karma of guilt and shame. When you ask about something like forgiveness and compassion, when you really understand these words, compassion, I don't even have to work hard to bring it about. How could I not be compassionate? You poor people. I feel definite compassion because I know you're as messed up as I am. We left God. How could I not feel compassionate about that? See what I'm saying? Seriously. We left God. We can think there's, enlightened people, non-enlightened people. We're all in this together. The non-enlightened, broken people represent our collective hurts and wounds that haven't been healed yet. The people that look enlightened and aware, it's great. But they're just the part of us that is getting it now. But they're all still us. There is no this and that, Republicans and Democrats. No races, no genders. It's all an illusion. It's the fragmentation that is fractal. It just keeps subdividing itself. And try to imagine this. We are part of God. We have the consciousness of God in us. We're capable of creating anything. So you know that if we decided to be separate and hide from the truth of our power, we're more afraid of that light than we are even the darkness. Which is hard to believe. If you're on the spiritual path, you're like, no, I'm totally comfortable with my light. Really? Then why haven't you become it? Deep down, we have this subconscious level of apprehension about owning our power. And one of the main reasons for that, by the way, is, and that word one of you brought up, transparency. If I step up and own my true power, before you're allowed to take your papers and breathe them in that says, this is my power. This paper says I am made in God's image, and I become it, boom, like some magical, image scene in a movie. Before you're allowed to do that, the ego gets one last shot at you. So when you say, I stand before the courtrooms of God, the gates of heaven, and I'm about to breathe in my power, my true identity, does anyone have any objections? The ego says, if you are really all-powerful in God, then why did you create this world? I don't remember. Ignorance is no excuse. Your Honor, clearly, this is one of them. Humans that screwed up heaven, that went and created a world where we can hate and judge, separate from each other and fragment from each other. So it starts throwing its whole case out at you. When things are thrown at you like that, there's there's deep down, there's a memory that I did do this. We did separate, didn't we? Oh my God. And then it's allowed to show you. If you want, Your Honor, we'll show you the Akashic records. This person killed, this person maimed, this person harmed others, they went to war, they hated, right? It's got all these files. And when that's happening, when that's shown to you, which is called your life flashing before your eyes upon each death and exit from the world, which is kind of like going, we have some bad news for you. Look where you've been, and now back to earth you go. Reincarnation. Reincarnation can be seen as a beautiful thing because it looks like, wow, look at how magnificent life is. It moves on and cycles, and you come in and, wow, isn't it the cycle of life? I mean, it'd be an amazing video to really capture what happens, and you go back to the other side and you see loved ones, oh, hi, and then they say, and now you get to go back, and, none of it's actually that nice. If it is, why do you cry when you come out? Because you don't want to be here. Why aren't you chanting? Why didn't you come out of your mother going, oh, because you don't want to be here. Why do you have things like memory issues when you get older? Because you don't want to remember all this. This isn't that good. Empowering, isn't it? This isn't that good. This is just getting by. Oh no, but I had children. Right. And they'll come back as your parents next time, and you'll resent them for being your parents. And your partners, they're going to come back as whatever else. All this weird, I know that there's a theme of beauty to it. There is. And you were this, and you learned this, and you didn't, and there's a beauty to it. But it's nothing compared to who you really are. I mean, it can't even come close to comparing, not even remotely close. It's like comparing a raindrop to the ocean. It's like, it doesn't serve any purpose. So don't get too attached. Don't get too worried about it. When we look at our lives and think, if only I can get it right, I mean, that's just, what would be behind that? That's not God's voice, if you could only get it right. It's better for you to own that you're not going to get it right, surrender it, and forgive yourself. Be able to laugh at this whole thing. Isn't this funny? I'm one with God, never even left heaven. And yet, look at my world. I live next to a dump site, and they're burning tires 24/7, and I get to inhale it. Now I'm dying prematurely because of the fumes, and my landlord wouldn't listen to me, and they were going to sue me if I broke my lease from moving around the tar-based tires being burned, perpetually, and and nobody cares about me. And my doctor said, well, it sucks, and so I exit this world. How do I come back going, can't wait? How good is that going to go? Well, there's something called illumination. And even the word illuminate. See, I'm a child of God, which is actually beyond being the light, but it's a good word we can use. I am the light of God. I am God's love made manifest. And I don't mean manifest physically. I mean made, created, brought into being. I, us, we, all of us, even the craziest of us, are all part of this thing called the Christ. We are holy children of God. And that can never change. What can change is you can believe you're something else. Your upper three chakras represent your knowing that you are part of God and that you are very holy. But most people, and you asked about the third eye, most people don't know this. We think that illumination comes from our physical and energetic awakening of the third eye. That's just a result. You don't want to try to open your third eye if you don't have third eye consciousness. How does that make any sense? We need to get the jaws of life from your local fireman, borrow his jaws of life, poof, and just pry open your third eye. If you're not that consciousness, it can't go well. You have to know the I am of God. And if you want your third eye opened, then know God. Well, I thought that if I opened my third eye, I become God. The last shall be first and the first shall be last. You don't open your third eye by your own efforts. It's actually by joining with God and loving everything. And then it just happens naturally. Don't force your Kundalini up. Make it irresistible. Get this part of you, your God consciousness, as Yogananda says. Focus on light in the center of your head, and it becomes like a light that's drawing the Kundalini energy up to it to meet it. But it's not just a technique. It's think more like God. Chant to the Divine Mother. Act like the Divine Mother. Call on the Holy Spirit. Awaken the inner Christ. These concepts. Love God first and foremost. God first in all things. Then this little light starts to get fanned into a flame. Neurologically, we could say it's a neuron that gets activated in the mind. And that neuron is the Christ within. There's a Christ neuron, just like there's a jerk kind of neuron too. Which one do you fan into a flame? Which wolf will you feed, as the old story goes? Fan that flame, that neuron that is Christ inside. Fan it into a flame. Well, I would, but I'm busy because I got a relationship and then I got work and I just changed jobs. And that's all this world. Seek first the kingdom and everything else will follow. The challenging part is that we seem to be in a third dimensional world. It seems to be, and it seems so real. It isn't, but it seems like it's real. Great minds like Carl Jung and Einstein, they said things along these lines, that this world is absolutely an illusion. However, it's quite tenacious in proving otherwise. And it is. You could just, oh my God, it's all an illusion. And you could have some mystical under a Bodhi tree or whatever, like, oh, I get it. And as soon as you get up, God, I was meditating and I saw how the whole world worked, but my back, oh man. If only I could be young again and not feel that tightness in my back. Great, you just affirmed you got to come back another lifetime. And so how's that going to help? So you can have this awareness, and what good does it do? So birthing that neuron that's, I am as God created me. But there is three-dimensional stuff that we still seem to have to deal with, so deal with it. Stretch the back a little, see, just move it a little bit. What do you think yoga is? People think it's a system. Listen, this is how this went down. Once upon a time, when people realized that they're separate from God, what did you think they wanted to do? They wanted to remember, right? Since the beginning of time, as soon as we left, some of us said, I don't want to forget. Others said, I already did and I want to remember. So they sat in meditation to remember. Is that reasonable? Okay, they sat long enough and their body's atrophying because they're sitting in meditation, oming and chanting and oneness with God. That's great. But eventually they started doing seated positions. While meditating, they started doing these kinds of exercises. You could call it Qigong type exercises to keep the body up with the soul. Keep the body awake, keep everything kind of loose so you don't just get all stuck. And then eventually they stood and they did movement, which you would call today Tai Chi. Staying mostly in one place, but movement. And then it became postures. It became movement and postures, forward, side. What do you think all this is? What it is it's a statement of how we are. We started one with God, but we gradually came out like creatures, coming out of the abyss, out of the ocean, whatever you want to think of, and becoming living animated beings. We started one with God. We landed in bodies that could still meditate and remember God. But gradually we moved out and out and out into yoga, into movement, into Tai Chi. That's a metaphor. Into walking, into acting, into doing. And then we forgot being. Every yoga posture, the word means to yoke yourself to God. So it means, because if I do this and meditate, I'm one with God. But as soon as I come out of meditation and go to eat, how do I eat and still hold this presence. See? And the more I come out now, oh, I've got bills to pay. Okay. Oh, I forgot I had kids. Okay, kids. Now I got to deal with the kids. But you see what's happening? You can't stay connected because there's so much calling you in this world. The ache, you now have to get up and stretch. It's a metaphor of us getting further and further from God. Does that make sense? It's just another metaphor of the separation. Yoga means to yoke yourself. It means how to be in your body, to be in the world, but not of the world. How to be in your body, but not be without God. Because the ego says you get one or the other. No, it's not true. This world cannot change but through us. We have to bring God everywhere we are, everywhere we go. We think, because the way humans are, they take things so literally. Mystics of the past, even mystics made a big mistake, which is if I'm a mystic, I have to abstain from the world so I can hold my consciousness. They still reincarnated. They did. Why, if they're so awakened? Because they got to the other side and they say, how are things with your body? What body? I denied it. Go back. You have to bring heaven to your body, which you don't have, by the way. You have to bring heaven to your body. Why? Because that's what you think you are. And you have to do it until you realize you're not a body, and then your body can change into light. I am not a body, I am free. It's like, wow. And that feels fantastic till you run out of gas in your car. Or you get an audit from the IRS or what. Wait, but I was so happy and meditative. Spirit saying, and you're doing great. But we haven't had any volunteers lately that would bring light to an IRS audit. There's nobody volunteering, so if you don't mind, you're so illuminated. Bring it. Bring it. And I've had this. It's not an easy line to walk. When people say to me, I would like a private session, and some of these people have been in some of the most horrendous worlds, experiences. There's been times when, people that are outcasts from the world, whether it's mental illness or they're porn stars, or there's these people that judge them, and part of me just says, I cannot say no to that. I refuse. So how can I help you? And yet, at the same time, the world fires away at those people and you if you work with them. Don't you remember Jesus going through this? The priests. Why are you hanging out with drinkers and prostitutes? First of all, it's not in the gospel. I tell you, he said, because they're more fun. But that's not in scripture, so I can't prove it to you, but he did. They're a lot more fun. No, I want to hang out with the priests. Just let's sit around and judge everybody. God, what a drag. So there is no other. There is no they, the porn stars, the drug addicts, the mental ill. They're part of us. We cannot, in each of us, cannot go home without them. Not literally, I mean in here. You can't see somebody as unworthy. You can't see somebody as a jerk politician, a jerk dictator, and people that have been so hurtful in this world. You can't get to heaven and leave them behind. It doesn't work because they're part of you. You're not going to want to say, I want the Christ neuron to be there, but I want all other neurons to be destroyed. You couldn't function. You have to get the one neuron of light to shine upon the others and heal them. Right? But what happens? You start fanning that one neuron called the Christ neuron. You start fanning it. How? By paying attention to it. By chanting it, toning it, concentrating on it. But you know what the other neurons are going to try to do? Crucify it. The other neurons are going to go, we have a problem. Somebody's getting out of line over here. The ego cannot, I'm telling you, not it doesn't want, it cannot allow you to fan the flame of your light because it represents darkness. Why? Because it's ignorance. It's not real. Darkness isn't an actual power. It's a lack of light. And there's going to be a time coming soon at a theater near you where the light becomes so prevalent there's no darkness left. Now there's somebody out there going, I don't like this guy. I want my darkness. I want to keep my darkness. It isn't real. All it is a lie. That's all the darkness is. It's fake. It's just, it's pretend. I want to keep my pretend. Well, it's free will. You're the part of us that's still nuts and wants to keep the illusion alive. Okay. And you know what I have to do about that? Do I let that disturb me? Well, yes, because as human beings, we get triggered by people living in the dark. But my job is, even if I get triggered, to love the hell out of them. To do my best to say, God, I'm seeing this. There is no them. How can I see us as home? And the only reason that person would be acting out the way they do is because they're afraid. Whether it's afraid of new levels of love, they're afraid of new levels of prosperity, they're afraid of new levels of health, whatever it is, externally, deep down, it's always afraid of light. It's always afraid of God. Because when we chose to separate, which we didn't really do, we just seem to have, the ego said, and if I were you, I would never go home, man, because God is so upset at you because of what you've done. He is? Yes. Don't ever go back. Can you help me with this? Absolutely. Beloved, the ego says, I promise to never let you find love again. I'll keep you in a world that's just getting by. You'll struggle. You'll pray. God will not give you answers immediately, which it almost never does. Because God is not answering prayers the way people think. God is praying for your transformation. So when you say, I want stuff, God goes, well, then change your consciousness. I'm still waiting. Where's my stuff? Change your consciousness. Still waiting. There's no God, so now I'm back into the world of doing. I will go and get my own raise. I will show men that I'm better than. I will show women. I will show the world. See, proving yourself. And you just entered the world of separation, feeling lack, and then hyper compensating to try to make up for it. I'll make it all look okay. Romance, for example. Divine love is unspeakable. Divine love, just forget it. You're never going to know, while in a body, a concept of divine love. It's not going to happen. I know that might sound like a downer, but no, trust me. You're not going to get that on earth. There's 3 yous. There's your spiritual God self, there's your soul, and there's your human self. You will never know the divine self while on earth. Divine completely no, and divine love while you're on earth. But you can have soul level love that is a reflection of divine love. And you'll even think it's divine love, but it isn't. And that's not a negative. Please remember, it's a good thing to say, and this doesn't compare to what's coming. That's a good thing. If this is as good as it gets, then we should all just start taking more drugs, because this isn't as good as it gets. Divine love, forget it. Soul level love, yes, you can have some of that. Human love, absolutely worthless. Not kidding. Absolutely worthless. My divine self thinks it's in a world of hurt and hate and separation. It doesn't know how to find anything real like love. All it can do is compensatory versions of love. I have someone that says they like me. I'm really unattractive, but this person likes me. Now I don't feel so bad. I'm not wealthy enough, and they are. It's so codependent. Or somebody I can blame for everything. It's so codependent. We're in a world that's trying to compensate for not having heaven here. That's pretty desperate if you think about the vibe to that. So when we find each other, there's just this strange version of love that's all twisted. And the ego needs you to have twisted versions of love. Because if you find the real thing, love, you can't have the ego and fear and hate at the same time. So when you choose higher versions of love, soul level love, the human neediness starts to fall away. But I got to tell you, it's very confusing. There's so many things that I could explain using the metaphor of a pyramid, because human love is at the bottom of the pyramid. And you should remember that next time you date someone. Hi, it's good to meet someone else who's at the bottom. I dare you. But that's what you're doing. I don't care how much, chemistry, hormonal, genetic, past life. It's all down here. It only moves up a notch when you enter soul level love, which isn't a thing that you can just like ring a bell when you get there and go, I'm there. It's very confusing, soul level love, because it means I don't love you, I love you. See? But wait, but if I love everyone, what do I do with the one that, what's that about? I guess that's an illusion. No, you love everyone similarly as God loves everyone. Similar, but it's not divine love. It's soul level. It's here. It's beautiful. But I enter a new level of, I just feel love for everyone. But you're still allowed to say, and I'll just try to live with one of them, not all of them. You know, you're still allowed to say, I love all children of God. But don't try to raise them all as your own children. 8 billion of them. It's just not practical. So it's okay. But just know the truth, but respect the illusion. You know, play along. At the end of the day, and this is very complicated, because if someone approaches you, they approach Jesus. And this has actually happened. You have Jesus sitting there. This is the Christ embodied. And you actually had some of the apostles' mothers. Jesus, when you get to heaven, could my son be the one sitting next to you and be your favorite? No. The apostles. So, Lord, when we get to heaven, do we still get women? They actually asked him that. Could you imagine him just thinking, kill me now, man. Kill me now. Let's go to the crucifixion now. I want out of here. That's what I'd be thinking. Christians think it was a major sacrifice. He was like, please. I'm teaching you the power of God, and you want to know if you get to hook up on the other side. I mean, is that all you heard? Blessed are the meek. Do we get girls? Love one another as I have loved you. Single women, that's it. This actually happened. How strange. And it is laughable. That's what you should do more. Laugh at this whole thing, including yourself, for thinking that having more money makes you something. That's kind of funny. You've got 5 cars instead of 1. You're really something. You're the CEO. Now, oh, wow. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's whatever you are you bringing it to everyone? Because if you're not, and you're singling it out for yourself, whether it's even romance, which again gets confusing, then you're living in separation. You have to know every dollar I have is ours, not mine. So if someone needs an extra few dollars in the grocery line, consider sharing it with them. And if you don't, you're not bad, but forgive yourself. Why do I have to forgive myself? I didn't, it's my money. Forgive yourself, because you're perpetuating separation. How can I help today? And this is day-to-day stuff. Look at people walking up the street that could probably use a ride, and most of us don't stop to give them a ride. Some of them up that major hill down there, right? And, people don't always stop to give them a ride. And you have your reasons. Well, I've heard. Oh, there you go. You're validating your judgment that someone is not worthy. And I'm not saying pick them all up. Even if you don't, stop and forgive. It's okay. I don't think I pass anybody like that without at least checking in. Do I need to stop and pick them up? And there are times when I feel, they seem like they, and then forgive yourself. Doing things right on this planet is what we think we're supposed to be doing to evolve. It's not. It's forgiving yourself when you don't. Even forgive yourself when you think you did. Always forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for having a thought that person might, somehow beat you up steal your car. Forgive yourself for thinking they're too dirty. So what? Fumigate your car when you're done. Just, come on, just stop making the excuses. So we have to think twice about this. And it happens for me because, there are times that I see somebody, and I pick somebody, give them a ride. Oh, so what's your name? Michael. That's all. I'm Michael, Global Spiritual Center or whatever. I just say Michael if they ask. I'm not there to introduce myself, and I'm not there to convince them to come here. I love that. I think it's a brilliant thing when that person's at home that night scratching their head wondering, why did that person help me? If it's because I'm Michael Mirdad and I'm here, it negates the good. They need to know there was no reason. They deserved it. That's all. Everybody deserves to be seen, to be helped. Yet in this world, it can happen where you give somebody a ride and they want a second ride. They want to go further, and so on. And it gets, it gets kind of disturbing sometimes. You help somebody and you give them $5. They say, well, you have a nice car. Give me 20. And then you start to feel this, you've done something wrong kind of vibe, like, God, I tried to help and now they're shaming me for not being more generous. And it just gets weird. And that's this world. Popular actor that was arrested for picking up a girl to give her a ride. And they said, no, she was a prostitute, so he got arrested. And, he'll be remembered for that a long, long time. But he says, ask any of my friends and they'll tell you, I always pick up people hitchhiking and so on. Do you think that made the news? No. Shaming somebody. Oh, come on. Helping people in this world becomes foreign. Somebody has to actually think it through, like, why are you helping? Because that's supposed to be our first nature. And instead, it's becoming second, third, on down the line nature to help people. You help them. They might want more. They help them. They might attack you. This could happen in this. That's the unfortunate world that we're in. My job is to keep anchoring light. Here's an interesting thing about heaven. We think that one day we actually get to just go home. This is a really strange concept, but it's true. We think that when all of this is done, finally, God, we forgive ourselves, God forgives us, everything's forgiven, and we go home. This is the weird part, though. When we go home, there's not a place, it's a consciousness. So it means that my mind gets restored to the bliss, the consciousness of God. So this thing is happening. Wow. And I can't do that alone. It's not like, wow, man, sorry for you guys, man, because I'm so illuminated. When I my illumination comes from my oneness with you and God. So as I start to awaken to who I am, the light I am, I'm so overjoyed because you're all getting it too. Now on the outside, you might still be sitting in pain, but I can't see that. All I see is your light. Am I denying you because you're in pain? What do I do? Well, I'm in pain. You're denying me because, Michael, you're becoming all illuminated. You just sit there and smile because you're one with God, but I'm still in pain. And again, guilted into, I'm sorry for being so happy. I'm sorry. Let's just commiserate together. And is that the right thing to do? No. What about leaving them behind and becoming illuminated and they stay in pain? That seems heartless. But what happens is, strangely enough, as I become one with God, with myself, and one with you, you are lifted. I didn't leave you behind. But I can't control how long you want to still believe you're in pain. But I refuse to see that you're still in pain the way you want me to. You follow? So that doesn't mean that if you're crying, don't hand you a tissue. But you're handing them a tissue. On the outside, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. You okay? On the inside, hey, cool, everything's fine. Wait, just a little while from now, you're going to get past this. And, your inside knows the truth. You're going to be fine. But you don't convey that all the time. How much you convey that is based on what you feel guided to do and what seems appropriate for the moment. We talked about this before. I don't know where it was, an article or a talk recently. Just, you don't want to shame people by being so illuminated. But you don't want to give in to where they're at either. So know the truth, but respect the illusion. So the part I was getting to, though, is heaven. So we're going to go to heaven. No, it's right here. So here's what happens. As we, each of us, let's say that there's there's 8 billion people on the planet, but it's all souls throughout the universe, all beings. But let's just start with this room. Every one of us could say, let's just become one with God right now, snap our fingers and boom, it's wow. But whatever you were working on, addiction, betrayal, backstabbing, friends threw you under the bus, family disowned you, all the hurts. When you heal and forgive, when heaven snaps back into place, if heaven happens right here, right now, all of the work you did actually expands heaven. You don't go back to heaven as it was. This is the weird part. You don't go back to heaven and go, oh, I remember this. When you go back, it's bigger than it was when we left because we have co-created more heaven by forgiveness. People think the forgiveness just gets us out of the rat race. The forgiveness actually expands heaven itself, which means even me and my most twisted, screwy decisions, once forgiven, added to heaven. Does that mean we needed to be screwy? No. But once you've done it, turn it into something else. If this is the life you lived, turn it into something else. You've been an alcoholic, a drug addict, or, whatever, a porn star. You've been a hateful person, an angry person. You've been a sniper, whatever in the army. You've done these things of this world. Bring God to them, and you're expanding God's presence right here for now, right? Just right here. But also energetically, the place, space, consciousness called heaven. Through your work. Really? Just me? Yes. It can't not be true. We're co-creators. God is heaven, created us in heaven. We can add to creation. We can't subtract from it. That's not possible because that's not what creation can be done. It's not what can be done with creation. You can't snuff it and put it out. We seemingly left heaven, but it just sits there just as this peaceful vibe. Leaving heaven didn't actually reduce it. It sits waiting for us to add to it. And every love, every forgiveness, it's just, in my Father's house are many mansions. What does that mean? Well, to a literalist, there's a house waiting for me. You're going to go live in the house, really. And you'll have a bedroom and a bed and a pillow to rest your non-head on. What are you going to do? Are you going to have a refrigerator to eat? You don't have a body. What do you mean? Don't take it literally. I remember this guy. I did a talk. I was a keynote speaker when I was 24 at this conference. And I had this talk, and it was called Heaven, Where Is It and What Is It Like? And in that talk, I shared this example because this had come out in the news somewhere, where this minister died and went to the other side. And it was interesting because, his version, people go to the other side and you're seeing in part what is right for you. You're seeing through your lenses. Does that make sense? But you're also seeing the collective lenses too. So there's certain things we agree we'll see and also some that are specific to you. This guy said, there's people, just throngs of people. He's touring all the Christian churches because he's a minister. So he's touring the churches, telling them, they're like, oh my God, we get to go hear from a minister that died and saw heaven. And he says, God was so big, I couldn't even see the top of his toe. That's what he said. I'm thinking, you died, went to the other side, and you're thinking about, seriously, podiatry? Like, that's it? Pedicures and his feet. But that wasn't even the weirdest one. He said, in heaven, there are still animals. And the audience, oh, he says, but dogs don't bark. You know why? Because he hates barking dogs. You're seeing this through your lenses. It's, you know what I mean? To other people, I want barking dogs. Except they chant, God, 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 God. Because you are in heaven after all. Anyway. So this person's coming from their filters. Heaven, what is it like? Where is it? What is it like? You know, and trying to imagine that my healing what isn't God and releasing it makes room for more God. And not just in me while I'm on earth, but in life, in the universe, and so on and so on. So it's a really beautiful concept if you think about it. Because even like Course in Miracle type students are thinking, okay, we're students of the Course, this is reality and illusion. Once the illusion's gone, we just go back to God. And I've never heard a Course teacher explain. And when you do go, you're saying the illusion's over, back to God, all of your healings have affected heaven. You've added to heaven. How is that not beautiful? But it's also telling you why you might want to work on your stuff. Because you're adding to heaven when you do. In my Father's house are many mansions. Well, the many mansions is also a symbol. In my Father's house are many spaces that you, as an architect, as a builder, built, added to heaven. In my Father's house are many spaces that you created through forgiveness. So that which is heaven just expands. And how could God not be grateful to that, for that? How could God not be like, look what you guys have done for us all? Heaven, you've expanded the territory. It's beautiful. God's not going to be a punishing God at the last judgment as people think. The last judgment is us getting over ourselves. The last judgment is when I'm no longer afraid of being judged. The last judgment is when I no longer choose to judge. When it comes to, I'm going to close in a second here. Because some of you are asking in terms of, and this is totally about transparency. Here I am, God. So the divine you knows, your soul believes, the human self just follows. If I believe I'm one with God, my human experience will reflect that. If I don't believe I'm one with God, my human experience will reflect that. So some people said, I believe in transcendence. I believe in illumination. If I do enough yoga postures, no, listen to me. You cannot reach illumination of the body. The body's too dense, and the body was created to not be illuminated. The body is a symbol of death. The body is a symbol. Well, how do I know that? Because you die. This thing doesn't last forever. But notice your soul does. So you can't reach God through the body. Even if you could, it would be 1 in a million get to that place. Jesus did it. But only by realizing he's not a body. So you can't actually purify your body enough by eating organic enough to become illuminated. That's not how it works. When you walk down the aisle and say, oh, that's bad stuff, there's the good stuff, that thing you just said keeps you from heaven. To think that that is not good for you. I know that sounds contrary to some of the granolas in this town, okay, or wherever. But that's contrary. No. I have a friend, and they started seeing more light and more because their soul was ready for it. Cheerios does not give you closeness to God. Fiber does not bring you closer to God. Not judging any of those things is how you get closer. And your third eye begins to open. Your human self, the thing you think you are, at the base of the spine starts going, something wonderful is happening. I must go and see. And it's because I'm allowing God to enter my soul, my heart and soul more. And so it triggers the Kundalini. I must rise to join with this party. See? So it gets brought to God. It gets brought to the party. But it has to be released of judgments. The mystics that said, oh, this naughty body, I am not a body, I am one with God, and all the great intentions. Deny the body food, deny the body this, eat just right. You can't reach transcendence, you can't reach illumination by making your body do anything. What you can do is say, I want to feel this way all the way to my body. And anchor the light of God while you do the yoga and while you eat your whatever it is. God be with me is your mantra. God, be with me in all things. Be with me while I shower, use the toilet, make love, do backflips, die. Be with me there's no place I would choose to not have God. Be with me when I burn food and when I have my favorite food. Be with me in a traffic jam and when the traffic's flowing. Oh, a miracle happened. God showed up. Because how do I know? Because I'm getting my way. There was a lane empty. It must have been God. That's God. Yeah, that's God. In its all divine holiness, magnificence, omnipresence, no traffic for you was all that mattered today. No. God's saying, you're not going to know me by me forcing myself into your life or by answering silly, prayers. I want this and this and this. Demands. Call me into everything. Please, please call me into everything. If you call me into everything, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be in everything. And you might sit in a traffic jam and not notice it. You could work in an emergency room and still everybody that comes in, even dead, half dead, broken bodies, bloody, and you still see that they're total beings of light. You facilitate every day for people. You facilitate home to God. Someone's crying and you just hold them and you're facilitating. You're midwifing them into a new level of consciousness. Just be caring. And this world's going to try to distract you with God knows what number of inane conversations, arguments, defending yourself, offending others, whatever it happens to be. All the stuff that goes on. They canceled your favorite show. How could you go on? How can I expect to be to go on, God, like this? To take shots, vaccinations, or whatever they called it, or to not take them. And you had these human beings, that just reared up into polarity, duality. How is that not funny? We almost got to the point where wearing shirts with a needle, picture of a needle, and people walking down the streets, I'm going to vaccinate anybody. And other people going, the government's put something in the vaccination that's going to control my mind. And you have these two completely different groups of people. And you know what? Both of them are terrified. They are. Neither is saying, and this is the will of God. They might say it is, but God's not going needles, or don't you dare. That's not God. God says just love. Love, peace, joy. What can you do today to anchor the most love? And somebody says, hey, did you know, the government put, and you say, whoa. And you listen to them, and you're anchoring God because you're hearing someone. I didn't say you agree, but you might look like it because they need to be heard. And you could walk 2 feet away and somebody else is going the opposite speech and, oh, really? Yeah, and you listen to them. That's the presence of God. It isn't here or there to the extremes. It's not left or right. It's right here. That no matter what, you seemed like a nice person. Okay? That beautiful presence. We started and end with that concept of compassion. Patience, one of the words you asked. That's what all of this is. When you know that the game is fixed, it's easier to have patience. When you know this is rigged, we're going to end up home. Oh, thank God. Keep that in the back of your mind. This world, no matter how much it fights tenaciously to prove that fear rules, it's not true. It's a bummer that it does look that way. But the good news is it's not true. And closing, that's the word used, whether it's in the Zendavesta of Zarathustra, whether it's in Taoism, whether it's in Jesus' teachings through Bible or through Christ consciousness. The great teachings, they call Satan and evil often the most consistent word, and what that word even means, is the liar. Why is it God and the liar? Not God versus Satan. It's not like God sits around, oh man, another battle with Satan today. I wonder if we can win. That's not how this works. God. There's God, which is, what you've heard the word truth. I am the way, the truth. Haven't you heard? The word of God is the truth. God's truth, capital T. But what's the opposite? Satan. What is the translation? The liar. It's not an actual force, an actual power that can defeat you. It's someone that's trying to lie to you to make you think you're not what you really are. Okay? And every time you think it's true, every time you react, every time you even try to, I'm going to move this podium, but I'll need 2 hands instead of 1, is an opinion. I can move it with my mind, but I believe I need 2 hands. See, that's a lie. And the ego, every line it puts on your face, you're getting older. That's not true. And the whole world is riddled with the lies of Satan. It's not just somebody on the other side, in hell, in the middle of the earth going, I can't wait to get, with horns. The world is already programmed with lies. It's not, if you vote for me, liar, you will not do what you promise. And it's okay, I forgive you in advance. I forgive you, you know not what you do. And then you go to the other group. No, you're lying. It's all the promises and science that tells me I came from, fish waste or whatever that's not who I am. Oh, we can prove it. You can prove anything in your laboratories, and then it'll be different next week. I don't base my life on the lies that just keep moving. Why do they keep moving? So they're not seen. Let me get that. What did you say? We're nothing but bodies that die and we disappear. We don't have a God. Okay, put it there. Put light on it and see if it's true. And it's not. Just bring light to everything. And you see, I can't waste time with these illusions anymore. I just can't waste time. And in all areas of our lives. You're not going to know divine love. That's not a put down. I said that's a positive. It means there's so much more. But for now, what we can do is know human, soul level love. Human love, guys, it's absolutely worthless. Meaning human versions of what love is. As long as somebody says I do, as long as it's straight, not gay, as long as it's this color, this gender, that whatever, the races and the cultures, and none of it's true. I am as God created me. So I don't need you. I am. But I can choose to share this with you. Would you like that? And you connect with somebody. Okay, cool. And you choose to share this thing or that thing, whatever resonates with you. But be careful. Because when you're connecting with God, the peace and the love and the joy feel so good, you start to find, I've been alone for a long time for some people, That's because it's a pyramid. At the bottom are many, just like any topic, religion. Religion has billions of members, doesn't it? Spirituality, do you know it's in the millions only? Spirituality. Christ consciousness is, in the hundreds. Think about that. Relationships, your dedication to a healthier life. There's the way people live. There's a healthier life, and there's total wellness. That's the way this world is. You want the best, it gets lonely at the top. And it's the same with romance. Human romance, anything will do. It's just weird. Anything will do. Hi, no, you're not the best, but you'll do. So that's the way these people live this way. And the religions too. I'm just in a religion. Look, I'm married. Look, I'm Protestant or Catholic. Look, I have a label. Whew. And you're just at the bottom. When you start thinking more clearly, healthier relationships, more spirituality, and you go up a bit. And that middle section is actually the most challenging because it's addiction that you're getting past. Addiction to the fake, the lies, the limited. You're having to step up and go, I believe in spirituality. It takes, like your health, it takes a different way of thinking, eating, being, less judgments, less projections, more forgiveness. That's a bit of work. It's called light work for a reason. Here, everybody agrees. Half of the world hates them and half doesn't. At least half of them agree. I got 4 billion people agreeing with me. I don't like them. And they all go, and so it is. Then they all agree. So I have good friends. Here, it's me. I got to look at me, and it's more challenging. And here, wow, there's nothing left to look at. I mean, wow. This love, you'll not know in a body. This one you can know. This one, it's worthless. But what you can do, remember, start bringing your soul right with God, and it'll reflect down to your human relations. I said about heaven expanding. Down here, it's worthless, but when you anchor God here, it changes everything. But you can't just go from here, God, down to the earth, here into your soul and your belief systems, and then it starts reflecting. You can't get the body there. You have to bring that consciousness to this place, and then you change. And that's what it really means to say heaven on earth. Please take a few centering breaths. Whatever your questions were that you brought, the ones you named out loud and the ones you didn't, please know, not because of what I spoke, please know that when you spoke it, I want to know about this or that, it was a prayer. And that God answered your prayer in your mind, in your heart, through the talk, through the smiles of someone in the room, through the songs. Please soak in the idea that your prayers were answered, that your soul was fed today. Feel your heart expanding. And as it expands, it's like parting the sea. Your heart opens and expands, and all hurt, hate, limitation thoughts, they just fall away. I need do nothing. Do you have thoughts? Do you have beliefs that are tenacious? Ones you're trying to break, but they're sticking. They keep getting you each day. Just own it. You might cry, you might laugh a little. Oh, there it is. Oh my God, I can't believe that showed up again. That belief system. I'm unattractive, I'm unlovable, I'm angry, I'm hurt, I'm sad. Or grandiose thoughts. Let the Divine Mother show you what's in the way. With each exhale, just see your heart opening more. It just opens, beautiful blossom. And it's releasing those beliefs, those thoughts. I have the right to give these up. That I'm a limited human being. Even that I can die. It's impossible. But who's speaking? If I'm a body, I can die. And that seems like a contradiction. No, it isn't, because your soul cannot. So I give up my body to you, Divine Mother. Am I black? Am I white? Male, female, gay, straight? And the answer should be, I don't care. None of this matters. What matters is God's presence. How much of God's presence do I feel in my heart and soul? Sit for a moment and just breathe that thought in. How much am I willing to open to receive? Right here, right now. Mother. Thank you, Holy Spirit. You are my bridge home. You are the Divine Mother that births the Christ child in me, that activates that Christ neuron in my brain and fans it into a flame. And that Christ neuron that will begin to burn more and more brightly, its fire is stoked by all beings that play the role of kindling. Each person I forgive becomes wood on that fire. And it brightens my day and it brightens my consciousness. Let me be that for you as well, to all my brothers and sisters. Divine Mother, show me how to be your presence in the life of all your children. A breath in together, please, and one sound. And so it is. Good. We're going to do our closing prayer in just a moment. Before we do, I want everybody to remember we have a Course in Miracles workshop next Sunday. It's either next Sunday or the following. Also, remember that we have our healing room here. The yurt has the crystal bed in it, so be aware that you're welcome to use that. You can sign up in the foyer when service is over, or just call during the week and they'll sign you up to go have a crystal bed session. It's very powerful stuff there. And thank you if you're watching online. Remember to like and do whatever those things are that people do online to just whatever it does. I actually don't know. You like it. I don't want you to share it. Isn't that weird? Don't just automatically share. You have a lot of insane relatives. We don't want to know about this. I'm kidding. Tell those who like you, and as well as those who don't. Because if they don't like you, they'll probably trust us. And if they do like you, they'll trust us. No, anyway. So we have gift bags if you're interested, especially if you're from out of town, but locals that want to give things. There's a gift bag that's only like $20, but in it, there's a book, there's an incense burner, incense, a card. There's a variety of things that are worth $30 or $40, I think. But it's a great way to get one package of things. And remember, this is the first Sunday of the month. So the first and third Wednesday of each month, we have a healing circle. That's Wednesday night here. So you're welcome, or it starts at 4 till about 6. So you're welcome to join us for that. It's sort of a blend of mentoring, healing, counseling. It's us all sitting in a circle and people bringing things, almost like a support group in a sense, but there's so much more to it. Read more about it in our newsletter, or the foyer has flyers. Also, it's time again, so we did a prayer an hour ago, we did prayer now in our closing prayer, another one in an hour, and another one after that. So for several hours in the morning, first Sunday of the month, we do several hours of prayer, in case you'd like to join that, like a prayer vigil. But it's also the first Sunday of each month, we do our spiritual interpretation of the Bible and the lost books of the Bible. So join us for that. You can learn about mythology and how all these things come together, biblical, as well as the lost books of the Bible and all that. Very, very deep, very powerful. A lot of people are really loving that. And I think that's all the announcements that I was given to make. Okay. Actually, do we have students sincerely into Native American traditions? One there, and one there. Those three. Okay? Those three. You three come up, please. Somebody donated. They're all brand new, but I think there's a couple marks here and there. But pick. They're fantastic, but they're gifts. Yes. They're shopping. It just takes something. Yeah. Good. She takes two. I like the way you think. That's good. And that's good because those of you who are generous and you give us things like this, you know, it's expensive sometimes, these books, $20 and $30 each, which is okay because they're worth it. But sometimes when we can, we like to gift things, so I'm glad we could do that. All right, we're going to do our love offering. Please be as generous as you can be. The donations go in the bags. The baskets are for any extra donations you can offer. People of lesser means that we help, or sometimes special projects. But be as generous as you can be, please. We greatly appreciate that. Do our blessing. We have a prosperity blessing. Do that with us. Share that with us if you don't mind. It's posted online, but it's also in front of you in those seat backs, those little cards. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. They'll be done in just a minute or two, and we'll do our closing prayer. But while they're passing those around, can anyone share what they heard today that made the most sense? What can help you in your life that you heard, or in the lives of other people around you? Yes? Right? What could be, cooler than that? The more healing you do, you're actually expanding heaven itself. How cool is that? And I've never heard anyone say that for whatever reason. It's amazing. Anyone else? Yes.
I was thinking about this thing when I was meditating, and what you said about just made me think of like when we put things in this world on a pedestal, or we expect it to give us the same kind of healing we might get from God, we get the reverse, or
Right.
the opposite, which is not having things go our way, or
Right.
not having the things that we might think that
Right.
God gave me what I want today.
Right.
Things went my way, but that's not how it works.
Right.
As you clearly pointed out, and I love that.
Yeah. The concept of how would you summarize it? What God offers and things of this world
And we want,
that we think we want, and those things don't live up to it, right?
it doesn't add up.
It's an interesting thing if you think about it. Because in relationships, you'll know that you have some sort of human relationship. How do you know it's human instead of soul level? Well, because the human level, somebody's going to get irritated or ticked off or whatever at some point because somebody else didn't do things the right way, say things the right way, forgot to buy you chocolates and whatever the things people like, You're going to get those irritants, and that's confirmation that you're unfortunately here. But forgiveness, not buying the chocolates, not making up for it and giving them 2 boxes of chocolates, by taking it to forgiveness, you've turned it into a soul level relationship. See what I'm saying? How do I get there? You practice it. You live it. Love and forgiveness, love and forgiveness. But if you're in one of these relationships, there's expectations. One of the best things you could ever come to when it comes to relationships in this world, what I do, don't expect anything from me. I want a person I can see 2 weeks a month. That's not me. Bye. Just get out of as much of that as possible. But you're going to come to a place where you can agree on some things, which will change. But when it changes, change the agreement. So get together and be a little more civil. Be a little more, show up and be conscious. If you don't tell them what you want and don't want, how are they going to know? Show up and communicate it all. They won't like me. Then they already don't. You just haven't told them yet. You're leading them to think A, B, C, and you're X, Y, Z. It's not right. Some of you I know have been through, you find yourself to be gay, but you stay married because people will be upset. I know, I understand the hurt and the confusion. But eventually, free at last, free at last. They might hate you for a day. You might irritate your family members. But you know what? A little pain, short-term pain for long-term gain, right? So did anybody else have their hand up? Yes.
What can I do today to anchor love?
What can I do to anchor love? And that's anchoring God's presence. You're still in the world, still stub your toe and things happen, but that's because we created a world that would feel everything but God. It feels everything opposite. Pain, that's not God. Limitation, that's not death. We created a world of darkness, and we whine about it, we hate it, when we experience it. Look at it and say, this is not the truth of God. Let things pass away. I would love to be able to I would love to be able to get married. I would love to be able to get this raise at work or give somebody a raise at work. But we're not able to do that right now. Just own where you're at, present that, and let people know accordingly. Don't be those businesses that promise people raises and not give them. Don't be the partner that promises loyalty, faithful, and you're not. Try to be clear about who are you, and state it. Does this work for you? And one last thing, just when we have this center, I think people love what we do here, don't they? But I know that some people feel like this is like a workshop every Sunday. The music takes it to another level, the prayers, it's like a weekend seminar, or more than a weekend sometimes. All this, and I know that for some people, that's a lot. Some people are like, I need to go back to my egoic life for a few months and just, integrate this I know, it's kind of a bummer, but I know. So we try to keep it as palatable and acceptable as possible. But then there's another part that's like, as old as I am, man, who cares? I'm just going to go for it. Please stand for our closing prayer. How does it feel today? How was the material we covered? Good. How was the meditation? Those of you who bravely offered themes, did they help us? Yes. Thank you, those of you who made requests. Just breathing out the worthlessness of this world. I know. Look at the glorious people in the room online as well. Look at how these beautiful smiling beings in this room. Wow, isn't that amazing? And that's nothing compared to who they really are. So if you don't mind, we say in our minds to them, I'm releasing how I see you. If you don't mind, I'm releasing you as being these little bodies. I'm so grateful that you are beings that are so large in light, you're larger than the universe itself, each of us. It's extraordinary to contemplate that idea. Wow, you are the light of God. We are the light of God. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Thank you. Keep in mind that Jaya has materials in the foyer, so be sure to stop by, give her some love. All right, thank you guys.